Hi everybody, my name is Megan. Some of you may know me from Instagram where I am Wide-Eyed Stitching Child, and welcome to my first Flosstube video. I thought today I would do the kind of standard awkward introduction video. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my stitching, and I'm going to show you all of my whips today as well. So I tried to film this before, and I tried to just like casually tell you about myself, and it got real weird, so I'm gonna use the Know Your Needleworker tag to get started today. Alright, so the first question is, where do you live? I live in a small town in Maryland called Havre de Grace. It's right at the tip of the Chesapeake Bay. I live right outside of the town in a big old farmhouse next to a cemetery, which I absolutely love. We've got beautiful views here. The house is actually called Grace View because we have a total view of the water and of the town, and it's just lovely. I live here with my new fiance, Aaron. Some of you may have met him at the New Jersey Flosstube retreat last year. He was there with me then, and he'll be back with me again this year, which I am super excited about. I also live here with my son Quentin. Alright, what do you do for a living? So last year I went through a big career change. I spent a little more than a decade working in the food service industry. I started off as a caterer and a prep cook and worked my way up the line to eventually become a pastry chef and an executive chef. And after years and years and years of crazy hours, crazy stress, I decided it was time for a change. So now I am a buyer for a wholesale distributor company. So basically what I do is I buy the food and the products that are then sold to the restaurants. I was a customer of this company for many, many years prior to working for them, and it's stressful in a different way, and it's still long hours and it's still crazy, but I really, really enjoy what I do. What other hobbies do you have? I love to crochet. I've been doing that since I was a kid. I used to make a lot of really ugly scarves and wonky pot holders and, you know, the standards. But now I enjoy making more of Afghans, and I'm actually working on my first shawl. I normally only do crochet in the fall and winter time. This big old house doesn't have any kind of central air conditioning or anything like that, so it's just too hot to work on that in the summer. I've also been spending a lot of time with my sewing machine. I've been learning how to quilt lately. I finished a quilted table runner, and then I did one quilt, and now I'm ready to do my next quilt, but truth be told, I can't start on that until I do this, because I've got all the stuff for this video set up on the table where I do my cutting and my sewing. So it's just another little bit of motivation to get this done. Let's see, do you have any kids? Yes, I do. My son Quentin, he is 14 years old. He is like 7 inches taller than me already, and definitely in full-fledged teenager mode right now. It's been an interesting transition for both of us, but he's a great kid. He's a really sweet boy. He's kind and he's funny, and I'm super proud of him. And I just really love being his mom. Do you have any pets? Yes, I have 2 cats, Bud and Herbie. I've had them for about 11 years now. Aaron also has a cat named Mittens, and she's kind of a pain in the butt, but we love her anyways. We also have an outside cat named Dingus. She's a sweet little black cat. She showed up a couple Christmases ago and then just never left, so we have her now too. But she picked us. What is your favorite movie? So last year we started watching a lot of movies. I kind of wanted to do an experiment with my family to see what the difference would be if we didn't have the internet. So I got rid of the internet for a year, and we spent a lot of time together, and we played games and we watched movies, and we, you know, went through all of our DVDs and Blu-rays and just had a lot of fun finding what genres that we all like and just spending a lot of time together. So we definitely watch a lot of movies, and we still do. But my 3 favorites, I don't have one favorite. That's too hard of a question. My top 3 movies are definitely Amélie, which is a French film, Inglourious Basterds by Quentin Tarantino, and The Big Lebowski. see, favorite TV show? We've watched quite a few different TV shows on like Netflix and stuff. I got rid of cable when I moved to Havre de Grace, so maybe 6 years ago. So we've watched different shows on Netflix and stuff. We are big Game of Thrones fans, so I'm super excited for that to come back. We're currently catching up with Orange is the New Black. We go through spurts, different things. I can't say that I have one favorite show though. What kind of music do you like? I love the Grateful Dead. That's my 100% my all-time favorite band. I've actually done some Grateful Dead cross-stitching. I've converted a few charts. I brought 2 of them here to show you, and I'm actually working on another one. This first one was a Bent Creek called Fare Thee Well, which looked like this originally. And I added some lyrics from one of my favorite songs, Broke Down Palace. And so here it is. It says, fare you well, I love you more than words can tell. And this is a little memorial piece I did for my mom. Those are her dates right there. This piece is super special to me. It's the first time I think that I really converted anything like this. It was the first time I ever stitched 1/1, and I really love this. Here's another one that I did. I converted this Country Cottage Needlework Stop and Smell the Roses with lyrics from It Must Have Been the Roses. Here it is. It says maybe it was the roses. I love that song so much as well. It's something that I kind of sing to myself if I'm feeling really stressed out or getting really anxious. That song always calms me down. And this is a frame that my grandfather had made, actually. And so, like I said, I'm working on another one. And I was going to take another country cottage pattern and turn it into with the lyrics from Ramble on Rose. So I'm excited to be working on that as well. I do listen to other music. We listen to a lot of Tom Waits. He's probably my second favorite. We have a pretty extensive record collection that we go through of all different genres. There's very few things that I can't find something that I like in. Alright, what's your favorite book? You're actually sitting on top of one of my favorite books. It's called Fernie by James Long. It has got a lot of historical fiction and soulmates, and it's just a really beautiful, beautiful story that I've read over and over and over again. I'm always reading something. I'm kind of just starting to use audiobooks a lot, which I've really enjoyed. I like having something on the go. I just finished Heart-Shaped Box by Joe Hill, which I really enjoyed. But I always like to have something on the go. My favorite genre is actually memoirs. I love reading about people's lives. I think it's super interesting. And then finally, what is one word that best describes you? And I would say, because that's a hard question, I'm very particular. I like things to be just so. I like things to be as they're supposed to be, I guess you can say, if that makes any kind of sense. All right. So now a little bit about how I got into stitching. Again, I've been stitching since I was a kid. I feel like I always had some kind of small kit on the go. Some I probably finished, some I probably didn't. When I got back into stitching a couple years ago, I was actually digging through my stuff and I found this little ornament kit that I had, well, mostly finished. And I stuck it in this little dollar store frame that I painted, so it's not in there very tight. But lots of little kits like this. You know, we would go to the craft store and peruse the kits, and that was kind of how I started. And then a few years ago, I was scrolling around the internet and I saw a picture of this cross-stitch project, and I was like, oh, that's right, I remember how to do that. And it was a subversive cross-stitch. I did not bring it to show today. We might have to get to know each other a little bit better before I share that one. And I got some supplies and I did it, and it was so much fun, and I just couldn't stop after that. I would hunt down a lot of like little freebies and just little small patterns, and then one day I was thinking, man, there's probably more to this, craft than what I'm doing here. So I went to YouTube and I just searched cross stitch, and up popped this video, this Flosstube video, and it was like an hour long, and I was like, how in the world can people talk about cross stitch for an hour? Like, what is there to talk about? And oh man, that like totally opened my eyes, and I fell right down the Flosstube rabbit hole and have been watching and enjoying ever since. All right, so now I'm going to go through my whips and tell you a little bit about all of those. And I've got them in order of age. I've got a couple that have been languishing since 2017 that hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll get done this year. But we will see. All right, I've got notes down here, so I'm going to be looking down a little bit. So my first whip is the mother and child detail of the 3 stages of women, inspired by the Gustav Klimt painting. Gustav Klimt is my very favorite artist, and I started this back on February the 10th of 2017, and this is currently the only full coverage piece that I'm working on. That's what it's going to look like. I am stitching this on 16 count Aida and using all of the called for colors, all the DMC, and as you will see with this one, and actually my next one as well, I did not properly position these on the fabric at all, but that's okay. I will just sew a little extra fabric around the top where I'm definitely short, and it'll be fine. I'm not worried about it. So here's where I am. This thing needs a good bath. I enjoy full coverage, but I definitely have to be in the right mindset for it. It just uses a different part of your brain, I think, to work through all the confetti. But it's beautiful. I have one page left. That bottom section is the last page, and I'm super excited to get this done. I'm going to show you the back, too. It's kind of spooky. It's definitely a little crazy looking, but Erin thinks that the back of this is just as much of a work of art as the front of it, and asked that when I've completed it, if I will make a copy of the back so that he can frame it and hang that as well. Here's the back. Ah! You can see where I just did not care. They're like right here. I did not care. I was getting those stitches done. Alright, so that's my first one. Alright, next up is ink circles, 99 bottles. That's what that will look like one day. I started this back on May the 22nd of 2017. And this is one that I want to have done, but I don't feel a lot of motivation to work on it. It's kind of fiddly. I've gotten a lot done, as you can see here, or hopefully you can see the whole thing. I've got all the bottles outlined, I've got most of the shelves done, and I've got a couple of them complete, but I still have a long way to go, and hopefully the motivation will come back to get some more stitches into that one. Alright, next up we have Halloween Birthday by Kathy Barrick. I don't do Mania, and I don't do the monthly Dark 13 stitching, but for the past 2 years I have, for Dark October stitching, either started or worked on this. Started a new project every week or worked on this for the month of October. So this one was started on October the 11th, 2017. And this is just on a little piece of 32 count Belfast. I want to make it into a little pillow when I'm done. So I'm getting there. Hopefully this year this one will be done too. Alright, next up is Thankful Wheeler by the Good Housewife. See that right there? I started this at the New Jersey retreat last year, and I still have not gotten very far. I've only worked on it one time since then, and not very much, but hopefully I'll get back to that soon. And here's where I am. Just a blue house and a little bit of trees and alright. Now this next one's another big one. I do really enjoy very big projects. So this one is the Desiderata by Lifetime Samplers. And I started this back on June the 11th of 2018, and it will look like this when it's done. I had looked for the, I think it's Indigo Rose Desiderata for a long time, and when I couldn't find it, I got this. And then right after I got this, I was able to snag a copy of the Indigo Rose one, so my hope is to stitch this one for my son for his graduation, so I've got a couple years left, and then stitch the other one for myself. Now, I have not gotten very far, but here is where I am. As you can see, it's giant, but it's some pretty dense stitching. It takes a while, but I think it's going to be absolutely beautiful when it's finished. Alright, next up is this Barbara Anna Designs Fair Philomel, and I started this on August the 10th of 2018. That's what it's going to look like. There is a very, I don't know if interesting is the right word, but tragic maybe, I don't know, story behind the myth of Philomela. And I've kind of gone back and forth about whether or not I wanted to share it, but I thought that maybe I would save that for the next time that I am working on this and show it to you. So this piece pretty much lives in the car until the fall, when the crochet lives in the car. So I've got quite a bit done. I don't have that much left to go. And here she is. I have been practicing on and off stitching in hand, so I've been doing her whole skirt using the sewing method in hand. And I go back and forth about whether or not I enjoy doing that, but I keep trying. It'll only look better the more I practice, right? So, there she is. My next whip is one that I'm actually currently working on. Excuse me. Low power mode. Better hurry. This pattern called Blackbirds by All Through the Night. When I was at the New Jersey retreat, we went to the needle workshop there, and I bought this pattern and kitted the whole thing up while we were there. And so every time I work on this, I think of all of my sweet friends that I met and all of those great memories. And so here's, excuse me, where I am on that. As you can see, I'm almost done. I have this block here, part of this block, and this one is almost done as well. And this I'm stitching in Valdani, and I'm really enjoying it. I really enjoy doing the, just dealing with the one strand, and, or the one ply, I guess it's 3, is that right? 3 plies, 1 strand, whatever. You know what I mean. I'm really enjoying this and looking forward to having that one done. And I don't know if I said this, I already can't remember. I started that back on August the 14th of last year. The next one was a Dark October start. I started this on the 8th, and this is Sisters of the Broom by Not Forgotten Farm. And here's where I am. Just about halfway done. This is another one that I'm kind of anxious to get back to. Alright, just a few more. The next one was my New Year, New Start. I had this pattern for a while. I actually had a different fabric picked out for it originally, but then I just had, I just really wanted to start it, and I just had a kind of a spark of inspiration, like, oh, don't do it on that other fabric. Let's make it giant and do it on 28 count instead. So here it is. It's huge. It's very big, especially on 28 count, but I'm excited that it's going to be so huge. And I've got the fabric folded in half right now. This came off of a yard of fabric, of a 28 count. And here's where I am. So I'm just about the halfway point, which I think right there. You can see there's a whole nother side to it. It's massive, but it's fun, and this one's definitely been calling to me a lot lately as well. All right. Next up, we have a pattern by Pineberry Lane. I think this is the first Pineberry Lane I've done? I think so. And I started this one on January the 27th. 2019, and it is called Lucy Nolan, Verses on the Death of Lucy Nolan. It looks like this. I love stitching morning samplers. And here's what it says. Verses on the death of Lucy Nolan. First, alas, how changed that lovely flower, which bloomed and cheered my heart, far fleeting comfort of an hour, how soon we're called to part. Second, and shall my bleeding heart arraign the God whose ways are love, or vainly cherish anxious pain for her who rests above? Third, from adverse blasts and lowering storms her favored soul he bore, and with yon bright angelic form she lives to die no more. Fourth, why should I vex my heart or fast, no more she'll visit me, my soul shall mount to see her last, and I her face shall see. And this, I think, is absolutely beautiful, and in the notes it says they don't know who stitched it. There is a MN AD 1848. I don't know if you can see that right there. It goes down the side, but that's all the information they have. And this has got a big wrinkle in it, but that's okay. And here's where I am on this one. And my last whip to share with you today is Time Enough by Kathy Barrick, which looks like this. And this has been a lot of fun so far. I've definitely enjoyed doing this one. I started this on February the 3rd. This one's a little wrinkly too. But here's where I am. Everything is done except for filling in the clock. And I'm going to save that for some stitching events that I have coming up. That way I don't have to try to think and count and talk all at the same time. Now I know that I didn't get into the fabric and too much of the threads and any of that today, but when I pull these back out and share them again in the future, I'll kind of go into some more specifics. Alright, so I think that's it. I hope you enjoyed this quick little video, and thank you for coming by, and hope to see you soon. Bye guys!